Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
Before we get started, I just want to say, people, keep watching to the end. We got a major announcement, perhaps the biggest announcement in history. Big announcement. You're going to want to wake the kids. This announcement is huge.
So without any further ado, this week's big question is, of the people who have been canceled in our culture in recent times, in whom are you the most disappointed? And then I said in parentheses, that is not to say you disagree with their cancellation, rather that you wish they hadn't done whatever they did in the first place, or at least wish you had never even heard about it. So my answer is Bill Cosby, because he did some terrible stuff, and he did some amazing stuff in the 70s and 80s. The Cosby Show was not only a funny show, but it was like heartwarming, and picture pages. When I was a kid, he had this like bee marker that would make all these sounds when he was writing with it. His stand-up was great. And you know, it's just now I can't even think. That Albert, my God, this stuff was great. And now I can't think about him without thinking about him doing terrible stuff to women. So yeah, that is my answer.
Dan, I want you to drink this Coca-Cola, and then you're going to lie down and you're going to have a dream that you hatched a zucchini. Yeah, you're going to have a dream you hatched a Jell-O pudding pop.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think it's a damn shame. I think he kind of like ruined, I don't know. He ruined all of that stuff all that work that he put into his comedy is just ruined. I don't know. Sucks.
Did you ever see, because the guy looks like you, did you ever watch The Boys?
No.
Oh, there's a Boys where they unfreeze a superhero who was frozen in like the 80s, and he sees a man with one of the baby things like holding him on him. He's like, "What's going on with that?" He's like, "Really?" And he said, "That's what dads do, in America." And he goes, "America's only got one dad, and it's Bill Cosby." And the guy's like, "So much to unpack there."
Yeah.
Can you guys hear that?
Yes.
My cat is auditioning for The Shining and wants to get in the door. I'm just gonna have to let him in.
I mean, that's cat. That's not like a puma that's making that sound.
I thought you were saying the cat was hitting the bass drum pedal like. Boom.
Yeah, I expect this huge cat to bounce in.
It's a huge cat.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
He doesn't want to come in now.
I've had it with that cat. That cat is off the show.
That cat's canceled.
That cat's here for the huge announcement. The additional announcement is big. It's the biggest ever.
You can edit that out if you want. I'm sorry.
No, we can't work.
Okay, thanks, Dan. So I would like to talk about Theodore Geiss, otherwise known as Dr. Seuss. There was an uproar in 2001. And, he's been dead since 1991. But he was supposedly canceled in 2021. 6 of his novels, or his books for children, were taken off the shelves due to allegations of racism. They were removed from publications. The names of those books are If I Ran the Zoo, and To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, McElligot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Eggs Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. Thank you for joining us, Kat.
And The Art of the Deal.
Yes. So Dr. Seuss Enterprises, which I guess is the entity that owns the Ray Solis material, said that they issued a statement that said, "We listened and took feedback from our audience, including teachers, academics, and specialists in the field as part of the review process, and they removed these 6 books from publication." Of course, Fox News had a field day with us saying, oh, no, Dr. Seuss, you can't cancel Dr. Seuss. Rah, 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 rah. Anyway, I'll have a link that talks about all the Fox brouhaha about that. Now, I confess that I hadn't actually heard of any of these particular books. So I looked online for the text, and I will provide a link to a YouTube video entitled Patrick Reads the Cat's Quizzer. This is a charming video of a young man, I think it's a young man, Patrick, who sounds like he's like, I don't know, 6, and he's reading the whole book. And my favorite page that he gets to is page 26. I won't tell you anymore, but you gotta listen to the whole thing, at least until he gets to page 26. But really, in the end, when I was doing some research on this and I looked him up, Dr. Seuss on Wikipedia, the thing that I really am disappointed about him is that he supported the internment of the Japanese during the Second World War, which is a terrible thing that the United States did. And certain people don't want you to learn about that in school. But anyway, a quote from the Wikipedia page, which I was surprised to read, said, "But right now, when the Japs are planting their hatchets in our skulls, it seems like a hell of a time for us to smile and warble, brothers. It is a rather flabby battle cry. If we want to win, we've got to kill Japs, whether it depresses John Hayes Holmes or not. We can get palsy-wowsy afterwards with those that are left." So I was really surprised to read that. Apparently, he did change his tune after the war, but still.
But he did say palsy wowsy, which sounds like a duck.
Yeah, right. So that's Jeffrey Epstein.
It's very disappointing to hear that about Dr. Seuss. So I'll provide some links. I really recommend you check out Patrick Reading the Cat's Quizzer. It's very funny. You can't get any more. I guess you could probably get used copies of it somewhere. There's one other link that I thought was interesting, and when doing research for this show, which was there's a page called 30 Celebs Who Were Canceled But Didn't Deserve It. And the one that stood out to me, of course, and I'm assuming I'll have some sympathy here, is Sinead O'Connor, who got canceled for tearing up the picture of the Pope. She turned out to be right about the Catholic Church and the horrors that they were doing to the world. And she paid the price for it. I mean, her career really went down the tubes after that. So anyway, check it out, check the links and see what you think.
Did you know that Horton Hears a Who? This is, again, the things that are lodged in my head. That was actually about the emerging Japanese empire. Also, he did write an anti-Hitler book. I forget the name of the turtle, about a turtle that makes a bunch of turtles stack up on each other so he can get to the top, and the turtle eventually falls over. So yeah, he did eventually. Yeah, when I saw the topic for tonight, I thought we were going to be talking about Tiffany Cross and that whole thing. So I'm going to make a note to add, because I should speak about that. So hang on, please. Okay, because mine's going to be a little different. So hang on for a second. There are 2 S's in Cross. I'm going to say right here, lean in, kids, because despite what your crazy Uncle Henry told you at Thanksgiving, no one other than some teachers and some literacy promoting drag queens is really being canceled. Most of all, no one who claims that they're being canceled is being canceled. Guys know how many films Mel Gibson was in this year? 6. Mel fucking Gibson. The original poster boy for anti-Semitism was in 6 fucking films this year, right? Louis C.K., he's out on tour. If you go see him, wash your hands afterwards and bring your own raincoat. America's favorite transphobe, Dave Chappelle, he gets to host Saturday Night Live and he gets to have Netflix specials. Straight white male, and probably the only person ever to use dude as an adverb, which would be Joe Rogan. He gets paid $100 million a year to say that straight white men aren't allowed to speak. That's right. He sits in front of a microphone and says straight white males aren't allowed to speak. I'm a straight white male speaking right now. You guys, I don't know if you saw yesterday, I read Mother Jones. You guys see, by coincidence, I don't know if you saw yesterday's Mother Jones. All right, yesterday's Mother Jones, and I'm not making this up, they had an article about Mark Halperin. Mark Halperin is earning more than I made by being like a professional victim of cancel culture. Mark fucking Halperin. Okay, that is just, I'm just giving you guys the tip of the iceberg. I didn't even do politicians who will never be held accountable, like all the people who were at the big inbred rally in New York City this weekend. And also fearsome swamp beast, Ginny Thomas. She will never be held, like she won't even be inconvenienced, let alone canceled. And if you think I'm kidding about how people just don't get canceled, the company that made Zyklon B, they're still in business. Zyklon fucking B, like Mark fucking Halperin. Zyklon, the company, you guys ever wonder why I look tired? Because I have to fall asleep at night knowing shit like the company that made Zyklon B is still in business. The myth of cancel culture was just something that was created by the right so they wouldn't have to deal with accountability culture. And that's the problem. It's the idea of saying, well, you can't stop me from saying this. You're trying to cancel me. And as you can see, nobody really gets canceled. Bill Cosby could probably get a paying gig somewhere tomorrow. Woody Allen still makes movies. There is literally, unless you are a teacher trying to teach critical race theory, or unless you're a drag queen trying to have story time in a library, you're not going to get canceled. And that we are canceling the wrong people. Now, as for Tiffany Cross, because everybody knows I used to like to watch her show on Sunday, and I really did enjoy her. I think she deserved to be fired. And I was a big fan. I mean, yes, Florida is the dick of the country. We can all kind of agree with that. But if you're a serious journalist, like if you're not on One News Now or what's the other, Newsmax, and you want to be taken seriously, you shouldn't be walking around. This is a pattern of things. And God knows, I thought she was a good journalist when she was on TV, but you just literally can't say so. I would lose my job if I just went around saying horrible, stupid things and which might be helpful. It keeps me from saying them. But so just people, accountability culture. That's the thing. Cancel culture is just something that the informationally challenged picked up upon and ran with. Like, it's cancel culture, like political correctness, where, when you have these idiots going, well, I'm not politically correct. And I think, is this guy like at home shouting out the N-word while denying the Holocaust and beating his wife? Because if you're not doing that, congratulations, you are politically correct. Enjoy your free washer dryer. So that's where I am on that. Remember, stay tuned to the end. Big announcement, huge announcement, biggest announcement ever in the history of everything. Mr. Joseph.
Well, the person that I chose for this answer, because the question was about being disappointed, and I do realize that this person hasn't really been canceled, is a person Rodney mentioned briefly, Woody Allen. And I guess I'm not even convinced that what was alleged to have happened actually happened. It may have or may have not. I don't think no one has convinced me. I did not see the recent, few years ago, the new documentary series on HBO, but from what I read about it, it doesn't shed any new light. After he married Soon Yi, which was the adopted daughter of Mia Farrow. She was 22 at the time, which seems a little weird that he would marry the adopted daughter of the person he just divorced or whatever. But they had a bad relationship. Mia Farrow and Woody Allen. A contentious relationship, I guess you can call it. And then one of the other adopted daughters accused Woody Allen, of course, of molesting her when she was 7. But like there were 2 investigations into the child molestation allegations, but neither of them produced sufficient evidence for an indictment. But as far as cancel culture goes, when the new series came out on HBO, he did get canceled by Amazon, who had a 4-movie deal with him. But like Rodney says, he still makes movies. It didn't really cancel him. Yeah. And he doesn't even believe he's been canceled. And it's just that you can still watch his movies. It's just that the his distributorship went away. But you can still watch him on any other distributors take over. Also, his autobiography autobiography, which was also supposed to come out around the same time as that documentary series, was dropped by that publisher, but another publisher came in and published it. I haven't read it yet. It's called Apropos of Nothing. Although it's gotten good reviews. I'm disappointed in him for it's just a sordid affair that he got himself into, and I guess I'm disappointed in the whole business of he said, she said.
He should hire you as his publicist, because despite being dressed like Dr. Smith from Lost in Space, I think you've really done a good job by leaning off with the fact that he did engage in an affair with his adopted daughter. So it really,
well, it was me as adopted daughter.
Yeah, that makes
that in
it
itself
okay.
is a little sketchy.
Yeah, I can't watch. I used to Love and Death used to be my favorite film. I can't watch it. I believe the
One of my favorite films is Crimes and Misdemeanors, and that's by Woody Allen. I love Broadway Danny Rose. It's a funny film. He may be guilty of producing predictable films these days that aren't that funny anymore, and they kind of have the same character in them over and over again.
Well, the creepy thing in Love and Death is, remember when they go to the rabbi and they say, "Rabbi, what's the secret of life?" And the rabbi says, "Blonde 12-year-old girls, 2 if possible." That did not age well. No.
Some of the sex jokes don't age well at all.
If they could have had the rabbi played by Bill Cosby, that would have been really been the icing on the cake, you know.
Woody Allen to this day maintains his innocence for the child molestation charges.
He was like, nobody molested me as a child.
He's also publicly defended Bill Cosby, too, which, again, not a good look. Yeah, Kathy Griffin was at a dinner with him, and it was just not cool. So.
And you can still watch his movies on Amazon Primes, the ones that they did, and even the ones that came out after he got canceled, they're still showing them, even though they canceled his deal. So that's it. That's Woody Allen's the person I chose.
People, if I had an adopted stepdaughter and I began an affair with her, or Vienna had an adopted stepdaughter, feel free to give me as much shit as you could. All right? Feel free to hurl that in my direction.
She never came. I mean, they're still married.
Ronan Farrow has a good track record, I think.
Yeah. I'm not going to judge them on that.
They say the second marriage is for love, right?
I just say Ronan Farrow has been. Well, Woody Allen would have been married a couple times before Mia Farrow. He's married to Mary Hartman for a while. So,
and Mia Farrow was married to Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If
some people say Ronan's father is actually Frank Sinatra, no one knows for sure.
Yeah, well, the only evidence that Frank Sinatra is Ronan Farrow's father is every fucking picture of Ronan Farrow. Everyone. That's the only evidence we have.
So there you
go. Mark fucking Halperin. All right.
So are we doing recommendations?
Well, don't forget, big announcement. Big and huge, giant at the end of the show.
Well, I was going to recommend this Woody Allen film based on a Dr. Seuss book, but
narrated by Bill Cosby.
No, I'll recommend that Bill Cosby, everything Bill Cosby ever. You know what? I didn't really prepare one, but I would recommend if you're going to be in the public eye, like, get some help for your sexual deviancy or whatever the fuck is wrong with you, please, because it ruins your art, people.
Or knock on Keanu Reeves' door and ask him if he can give you lessons about being a decent human being. You never see his name anywhere with anybody complaining. You know, I heard once that he shook a girl's hand at the end of a date. Be like him. All right?
Yeah.
So I would like to recommend a YouTube video episode from an ongoing series posted by the Earthquaker Devices guitar pedal company. They have a series called Show Us Your Junk. And the episode that I would like to recommend you check out is Lisa Belladonna's Hidden Sonic Sanctuary. It's an amazing, I think it's about 45 minutes long. It's absolutely amazing. It's a detailed tour of her home studio called Appalachian Recordings, which is located deep in the Appalachian Mountains of eastern the United States. one of the things that I found most fascinating about the thing is her love of 8-track tapes. Joe, you might be interested in this. And I didn't realize that for a while she her live performances incorporated 8-track tapes. And actually during this sort of documentary video, she gives a little example of how she used them live, which is really, really amazing. But she also has a huge collection of commercially released 8-track tapes, and she regularly listens to them. So she just likes the quality of sound that they give off. And besides that, of course, her synthesizer studio is absolutely jaw-dropping. It's amazing. So it's a beautiful setting, and it's a great video. I check it out. She's a very interesting character and an excellent musician.
Yeah, I'm not so much a fan of her music, but I watched every second of that video. That video was really good. I mean, it was really interesting and well-paced and knowledgeable. I really liked that. So it's the opposite of our show, people. It's interesting, well-paced, and knowledgeable.
She's a big heavy metal fan, too.
Yeah, oh, by the way, quick thing about metal. I did get to see Dio, Dreamers Never Die. And there's another guy nobody ever says anything bad about. Everybody else is like, and then cocaine came in and everybody used it, except Ronnie. All right, so I gotta get moving on this. When I got up this morning, people, I didn't know how incomplete my life was. And then I was listening to, we have a technical, the I Die, You Die podcast, and they played a band. They said, this is one of the best bands we've heard in a while, the best albums of the year. But they're saying it's not what they call our thing. It wasn't like goth industrial, but they said, you're really fantastic band. You're going to want to hear them. And my mind was blown. I actually went out today as soon as I got home and bought the album. The band is called Special Interest. The album is called Endure, and it is one of the best punk rock albums I've heard in years. It is absolutely, I sent out tracks to the guys. I'll probably send out bit by bit the whole album to the guys. It is amazing. They answer the question, what if the B-52s had grown up next to a shed where they made meth? And they are just like really intense, really, really good. Like I said, I learned about them. Like, how did I live without them in my life? So you can get the whole album for $10, and it's going to be the best $10, best digital, get the whole digital album for $10, best $10 you'll ever spend. I mean, it is that good. It is danceable, fun, but also there's a lot of political stuff. It's just great, great punk rock. So again, the band is called Special Interest, and the album is called Endured. Please buy it and be the punk you always tell everybody you are. You go, oh, I'm into punk. If you are, you're going to have this album. New rule. Okay, now, quick plug. I normally don't plug stuff for me, but Milkmen have been on a little resting thing, and that means that I have to constantly do things. So quick plug for 2 videos that are on my channel. Last week, I talked about getting the Zoom H1N and that I was going to build a shock mount for it. And I did indeed build a shock mount for it. I don't know if you can see this. This is the shock mount I built. So I have a little video that shows you how to build these. I got it mounted on this. And you can tell it's in my studio because it's all black and it's got a little plague doctor here. So I go through that and really the shock mount. First of all, you think, wow, that's really clever. Watch the video all the way to the end and you'll find out I ain't so clever. But I do recommend that you get a hold of one of these if you can, which reminds me, congratulations to the Walnut Street Station. Walnut Street Station won last week's competition. Now, I was pulling for Snyder, but I guess a lot of... What?
I preferred Snyder, too.
Yeah, a lot of fancy lads that watch this show. Oh, you're one of them fancy lads. Want to buy a monkey? And then the other thing out in it's just a 2-minute teaser, but it's a 2-minute teaser. I'm going to have an upcoming video, which is an instructional video, which is a little video, an introduction to groove boxes. Because I play a groove box here in Philly all the time, and people keep coming up going, what the hell is that? How does it work? Somebody actually suggested we make it the official instrument of Philadelphia, but that's actually a thing called the glass harmonica that Ben Franklin invented. But the groove box is a mystery to people, so I'm just going to be making this video in the future to explain to people so I don't have to answer their questions. But right now, it's just a 2-minute sort of jammy thing, and you get to see all the stuff happening. So if you can check those out, we should have the links up to them.
I want to recommend a candy bar. It's called Cocoa Pebbles Milk Chocolate Candy Bar. It's made by the Frankfurt Candy Company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Made in the USA. It's it has little. I can't show you the actual candy bar because I already ate it. It was delicious.
It looks like a new one.
It does. Got me full.
It's the wrapper. It has little bits of rice cereal in it, and so it's sort of like Nestle's Crunch, but not as crunchy as a Nestle's Crunch. I don't know if you ever had Nestle's Crunch, but this is Cocoa Pebbles, and it tastes amazingly like the Cocoa Pebbles cereal that Fred Flintstone is a mascot for, I guess. But it's a little creamier. It's a creamier chocolate. I don't know. It's good. You should try it.
Joe, did you know that Pebbles was Wilma's adopted daughter and that Fred eventually began a relationship with her?
Oh, my goodness.
Bam Bam.
Bam Bam had a few things to say about that.
He stepped in.
Who names their child?
Do you even know who Fred Flintstone is now again? I was like, I'm amazed that they're actually marketing a candy bar based on Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
It's like,
has he been canceled?
I mean, I guess they're designed for old folks like us.
Wait, isn't there a theory that the Flintstones are past the Jetsons? Like they started.
I heard that theory.
There's also Flintstones Meet the Jetsons, and we talked on here before about how they both take place in the same timeline. After an apocalyptic nuclear accident, the Jetsons live up above in a white collar world, and the Flintstones, who are blue collar, have to live down in the dirt with the mutated animals. That's why the record player is a bird that says it's a living, that sort of thing. Yeah, so, just so you folks know. Yeah. We're glad to bring you that information. Do we have time for my big, huge, super giant announcement? Joe, you got any more? You got any more? You got anything else you'd like to whip out and show us?
That's all my recommendation.
Okay. All right, people. Giant announcement. You might have heard about it today. Super big, huge. A lot of people are saying, all right, I am selling digital trading cards. These are just like the baseball cards that you had as a kid, only they're digital. Remember when you were a kid and how much you enjoyed digital trading cards, trading them? All right, here's one right here. Oh, gee, it's lovely. It's one of my favorites. Here's another one. Just remind you people, these sell for $99 each, and you can get them. We'll take Bitcoin. We'll take rubles. We will definitely take rubles. Here's another one, third in the series. Oh, geez, you can't get any better than this. You know, some people say, is this some sort of money laundering scheme? You know, maybe some Russian oligarch, you're laundering money. And I say, no, that's not true. And if you say it again, we'll have you beaten up. So, just please, the $99 each, please buy my digital trading cards.
Can I put those on my bike and make the real cool like motorcycle sound?
You can print them out, but that's another $99. Okay. My son, Rod Jr., he's handling all that. Oh, it's really exciting. I'm really glad to be part of this.